Live. Okay, so welcome, my friends, to the Mastermind Group for Thursday, the 24th of June. John Lavenia at your service, filling in for Mark Riggle, the Lieutenant Colonel, who is apparently filling in for some other people at his wife's office who people needed help. Here we are. We've got an intimate crowd today. This is really cool stuff. And they're all from the United Kingdom. Lucky me. I just ended like 1 minute before I started up this room. I had just ended a business session with a new friend from England as well. And I'll tell you what, there is a lot of anticipation for this the end of lockdowns and moving about and all this kind of stuff. And I think that has to do, or we could correlate perhaps a lot of people out finally getting some fresh air and doing whatever they're doing based on whatever jurisdiction they're in. We've been doing that in Arizona like the whole time, but a lot of people not so inclined to be on the interwebs. I saw your dog there, Ego. Beautiful. What a great dog. And so loving. But people in some cases perhaps overcompensating, which I don't know, where's the line? I don't know where the line is, but we're going to get out and we're going to do it. Last Friday, so a week behind tomorrow, so a week ago tomorrow, I was talking about balance. I was talking about how I am intent on having more balance in my life in terms of on switch versus off switch, working versus not working. Not that I have a problem with work, right? And I think everyone here probably has a pretty good work ethic, right? I don't know. I don't sit with you and hover over your shoulder as you're doing your work, okay? But the fact that you're showing up here in an environment like this, I think is an indicator that you're about more purposeful stuff in your life. What is work? On purpose action. Fantastic. So we've got some on purpose people here. But also part of our purpose is to, get out and live life and do things. I can appreciate deferred gratification, but I can also appreciate gratification, right? Deferred till when? So when do you start living, right? Which I think is an argument that a lot of people have, that I've certainly witnessed, in terms of like I was just mentioning, with the whole COVID thing. So we're going to do what? We're going to defer life because, whatever reasons, because of reasons. And I think a lot of people right now are ready for gratification. And it's a good thing. My thoughts on this and where I'm going with this today, and this is all coming out of my brain as it comes out. My thoughts on this would be as it relates to the potential to overwhelm ourselves, not by going out and playing, but by not having balance. This has been a tough topic for me over the past few decades, this whole idea of balance. I heard a friend say that balance is that split second I pass over when I'm going from one extreme to the other. There it is, balance. Oh, too late, you missed it, right? Which sounds funny, right? Like a pendulum swinging. So what does that mean? That we're a workaholic and now we're just a lazy slob. And now we're a workaholic and now we're a lazy slob. No. So one of the things that I've had to consider in my life is if I've neglected one side or the other, right, then I have the potential to swing hard the other way. So can we create some balance? Can we slow the pendulum down a little bit and not ride the damn roller coaster so much? We can, but it's going to take some discipline. And I know from the esteemed people who are here with me right now, or if you're watching this on the recording, if you're engaged in this conversation, you've got some discipline. So we can use that. What is discipline? Being able to give yourself a command and then follow it. And then if you can't, somebody else will, I suppose, right? As a child, right? You received some sort of discipline. Hopefully it was good discipline. But really what we're talking about is taking control or accepting the control for what we do with our time. So if we've all got 24 hours, and we do, part of that we're going to spend sleeping, part of that we're going to spend eating. The two major inconveniences of having a body, okay? And I know we got some foodies on here, and so not a slight to you, but my goodness, if I could like ditch the whole eating and sleeping thing, yeah, I would. That's just for me. So So part of that time is already accounted for, right? And you have to. Okay, fine. Besides those have tos, what are we doing to not only uh, create to sow the seeds, right? To create the enterprises, the business, the long range success and short term success. But what are we also doing to keep ourselves in a state of, I'm going to say gratification, which is different than the word gratitude, although they both have the grat in there, right? So we're looking for some grat. You got to have the grat, Edward. What was that? What was that movie? The Quan. You got the ambassador of Quan, Jerry Maguire, right? So we're looking for some of that Quan. But we want to do it in a way that allows us to continue sowing seeds on a schedule. For me, it all comes down to scheduling. And again, this has been a sticking point for me. Now, many of you have counseled with my secret weapon, Shannon, who will be with us tonight on Brand Builder. So get excited about that. She's coming out tonight and she's going to be talking about some good stuff. I have no idea what the stuff is, but it's going to be good because it's her. Just like I know anytime, Emma's doing a e-commerce work group, anytime Ego's doing, the practical entrepreneurial tips, it's going to be good. And if I didn't know that, they wouldn't be in the seat. By the way, Ego, my dog just came in. He just dragged his ass in here. Hold on a second. I know it's not Fun Friday yet, but here's Butchie. Oh, my goodness. Yep, here he is. He's got his drag bag. He, I don't know if I told you guys this, but he had one of his rear legs didn't work so good. And one of them that he was dragging a lot became infected. We got it hopefully fixed. Oh, I see Emma's got her dog here. Hey, Emma. But he had to have his leg removed a couple of weeks ago. So, and he's doing great. It's like, I didn't even know the leg was even there. He basically didn't. He didn't even know the leg was there. So, yeah. So he's got a drag bag now so he doesn't drag his butt and get all bloody. He used to have a bloody leg. Now we don't want a bloody butt because we can't amputate that. All right. But we saved the dog. So that's good news. What was I talking about? Thank you, Emma, for sharing the picture of your dog. So, yeah, he's a brave guy. Yeah, he's full of energy, right? When the vet said, maybe euthanize, and Shannon was like, oh, and this is while I was out of town, right? Talk about turbulence. What do I do? I'm like, well, let's look at options. Let's get another opinion. She wrapped up the dog's leg, put him down on the grass, and he just took off like a bullet. Fun. Let's play. She's like, we're not putting this dog down. So yeah, he's full of life. What was I talking about? Scheduling. Right. So I've noticed that, that in areas of my life that are deficits. Okay. So let's say, social. Okay. So to do with, I think, actually, part of it, which in some jurisdictions has been frowned upon for like a year and a half. But this is necessary. Now, is it on my calendar to go be social? And that could be a purposefully social thing. I've decided I am re-entering the world of martial arts. So I took some, Krav Maga lessons back when I lived in Utah. It was awesome. I'm gonna tell you what, you want to feel like you're alive, go do Krav Maga, right? It's Israeli contact combat. It's extreme. Okay. But I'm leaving there with bloody knuckles and, I'm alive. Yeah. So for me, that's how it occurs to me. Okay. Other people, it's like, wow, I'm in pain. Yes, pain. But skill and social, right? So it's like an on-purpose social thing that I can do, right? And it's kind of like a community, right? These people are all training on how to, be self-defense and competent in the use of their body should they be, attacked or something. Yeah, these are on-purpose people. So I can go be social with on-purpose people. That doesn't mean that I share every single value that they have, but we've got something in common, and it's the intent to be more competent with your body. Okay. When am I going to do that? Well, in this case, I've got help, you see, because the local school that teaches that They've got this thing called a schedule, and I can conform to it. And then I can arrange other things. Fortunately, as an entrepreneur, right, I can arrange other things in my life around that schedule. You know what? I'm not going to do the 2 o'clock thing because I've got the 2 o'clock lessons. Fantastic. Now, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. Right now, it's not on my calendar, and nor am I doing Krav Maga, right? So I've got to get off my ass, and I've got to make some decisions in advance that I am going to do that because it's important to me. And it's something that is a deficit in my life, right? It is something that I have not deliberately practiced. Okay. There's many other things that we could do that aren't important to me and that are not going on my calendar. And that's fine. All right. But what is it that allows you, as this guy was saying in this book that we've been reading, for those of you who've been in our book study group, letting off steam. He was talking about letting off steam, having like a pressure relief valve. This is, of course, this book is all about self-image psychology, right? And how to nurture that and how to actually define that and cultivate it for yourself. And I know Lindsay's gotten a lot out of that book, as is anyone who's dived into it. But the idea that we could walk around in a state of imbalance and constantly cramming or striving, or pick whatever words are displeasing for you. I don't like either of those. And we can do that to the point where we're swinging the whole other way. Or we're saying, you know what, that's it, I'm out, right? I'm abandoning my post, right? And I'm going to go in the exact opposite direction. And I don't know if any of you have experienced that. Me personally, I tend to hang on to stuff and never let go. I have a client. So I've got a bunch of clients, but I've got a client that I have a sales team that works with this client to put their products out into the hands of customers. Okay. So this is, business, marketing, and sales operation that we're doing here. So we are the sales force for this client. They've got a product and they've got marketing and traffic and leads. Okay. And we put those two together, right? We make the sales. And it's good. It's good. But it's been like on again, off again with, what kind of marketing we're going to do. Oh, the leads are in, the leads aren't in. Oh, wait. My least favorite 4-letter word is wait. My least favorite. Okay. And it's been going and going and going like this to the point where we may not continue the client relationship. And there's other people that control the contracts. I'm not involved in all that stuff, but how long can we defer gratification? Wait. Yeah. I knew this dog, since we're talking about dogs today, and her name was Lady. She was a boatyard dog, kind of like a junkyard dog. Okay. But this was a boatyard. This is back when I was a diesel engineer on a tugboat fleet in New York Harbor, out of Staten Island, New York. And we were running these, I don't know if you're familiar with tugboats, but there are these big machines, right, that float around in the water and have so much power that they can push huge ships into docks and move them around the rocks and do whatever they got to do in the harbor, right? Because the ships can't dock themselves. They need to be towed in. But anyway, this dog, Lady, there was a dumpster right at the corner of the parking lot. It was all mud and just imagine an industrial, pretty filthy place. Okay. A boatyard, and not like a marina, like you've got your beautiful white yacht. Okay. We're talking industrial, big machinery. And this dog every night would stand by the dumpster with intent, like with the paws in front, ready, with the back legs kind of loaded, ready to jump, right? And stare perfectly still for as long as it takes for a rat to show itself from underneath the dumpster. And then she would strike. And every morning, just about every morning, up at the guard shack, right? You go up some stairs, and then there's like the little guard tower, right? To watch, security, right? Because there's a lot of expensive equipment. And at the entry to the guard shack would be 3 or 4 rats that have been back's broken by lady. So she had the ability, this dog had the ability to focus so intently on something and not move a muscle, to the point where a rodent would reveal itself. And New York City rats are pretty substantial. Okay. It's not like a tiny little, it's like a rat plus the tail. Okay. So, can we do that in our lives? Yes. How long can we maintain that though? How long can we maintain that? Here's an animal which has infinitesimal, reasoning power, compared to all of us, hopefully, right? Compared to all of us. And so that was like, that's the event. That's the daily event. That's what that dog lives for. Okay. And if we're on purpose, right? And that was her contribution to the operation, right? And we feed her and give her water. But that level of intent and maintaining that also has to be broken up with some gratification. If no rats, think about it like this: if no rats to kill, how long would she keep up that act? We got to have some gratification in this. So that's what's coming up for me today. I'd love to hear from you guys, especially my friends in England, because a lot of people are getting out now, and thank God, getting some sun. If you guys experience sun over there, we could send some your way, by the way, and we'll take the rain. We actually had rain the other day here in Arizona. Was it yesterday? Yeah, rain. It wasn't like a major monsoon or anything. That's coming. That's in July and August. But thank goodness for a little bit of rain. Who's got some ideas that they'd like to share just on this idea of balance and, and actually accepting some gratification in your life? Emma, please come on out, my friend.
Hi, yeah. I'm a bit similar to you. Oh, I've got it the wrong way around. Hang on.
Well, there's that dog.
Yeah, back to the dog. Yeah, I'm a bit similar to you. Now that we're starting to be able to get out a little bit, I've taken up my open water swimming again. Mm-hmm. So the nice thing about that is, because it's a big group of us doing open water swimming, that we kind of all get together and you're seeing different people and talking about different things, and obviously being on Zoom calls. So that's made a huge difference for me. And also because I do it a lot of the time with my husband, because he's training to do a 10-mile across Lake Windermere, crazy person.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice that obviously I'm with him, but also meeting all his friends and just meeting different people, which is great to get out. So, but then also what struck me yesterday was, after doing Adrian's session, who's always brilliant. He always inspires me.
That guy's a scholar. He's amazing.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. He was asking us last night what he should do as a business. And we were all like, you're just amazing. You just need to link people together as entrepreneurs and guide the ship. I tell you, he's just brilliant. So today I was doing like my strategy and mission statement and vision, and just rethinking a lot of things. So yeah, thankful to him. So it's a bit of that breathing space. And when we were doing psycho-cybernetics with Mandy, I think the one thing that really struck me was at the beginning of the year, because I had more time on my hands because I hadn't started, you're almost more creative and got more time to think about what you're doing, and then obviously throw yourself into it. Whereas now I'm kind of reassessing what I'm doing, but I felt like I didn't have that creativity back again. So I've tried my hardest to try and now think back into being creative rather than being too formulaic, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So yeah, that's kind of what's happening for me. So kind of going through that process.
Emma, so when you say creative, do you also mean spontaneous?
Yeah, a bit of spontaneous, but also kind of trying to think back outside the box rather than being too rigid and saying, even though I'm reassessing, almost still trying to think open for new opportunities as well, of things that could come my way, or think a bit of a bigger picture. So yes, but that's not always easier said than done. So still working on that one at the minute.
Okay. But also in business, you've got a bit of creativity, right? So like, if we don't enjoy our work, it's going to be drudgery. And I know you're really good at what you do, right? You tell me, are you good at what you do?
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there it is, right? So that's also gratifying. Production is gratifying, and so I think in this way with what you're talking about, and also with your husband, is that a swimming thing? 10 miles? Is that what that is?
Yeah, so he's swimming 10 miles across Lake Windermere. So it'll probably take
Right,
about 5 or 6 hours. So
5 or 6 hours of swimming. Who's
yeah,
in? Who's in? Damn it!
I'm happy to do about 2, and that's my maximum.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not a swimmer. Yeah, 20 minutes tops. Yeah. So maybe that's something. Yeah, not my thing. Okay. Emma, thank you. So glad you're here with us and good to see you. Those clouds look wonderful. Look at those clouds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite hot, but quite humid.
Yeah. You think it's hot? Okay.
Yeah,
Very good. Yeah, we could talk about
not as hot as where you guys are.
Thank you, my friend. Let's hear from Ego. Hello, my friend Ego.
Hi everyone. So yeah, thanks, John. This topic of like scheduling and reassessing, I think like now's the time, or every time. So we're at the halfway point of the year. So whether you're in business or you're employed, or whatever it is we're doing, we cannot take stock, right? So for me, planning is really key. Because times where I don't plan, I'm all over the place, and then there's no gratification, because you plan, you deliver results, and then you kind of celebrate those wins or do other things, right? So on the as things are opening up, I'm not of course I'm going out more, just the usual things that I used to do. So when I've planned my day, I put time in there for like going out for a walk, meet a friend for coffee or whatever it is, right? So that's all planned. And times where I don't do that, there's overwhelm, because
Right.
I'm either double booked. I just noticed on my calendar I have 2 mentoring sessions at the same time. But and
Oh.
the reason for that is I I shared 2 different email addresses, so like a business one and my personal one. So I've just noticed now. But if I had taken time to look through like I normally do, I planned the quarter ahead and then month and then week, I would have noticed. But on the, as things are, excuse the noise, Simba's playing with something. As soon, now that things are opening up and my reality looks different to what it was, say, a year ago or 6 months ago, I'm having to reevaluate. So just like Emma said, reassess, just kind of rethink what this all means for me and what are the things that I've committed to, and how can I ensure that, because I see everything I've committed to as strands, different strands of which kind of make up or enrich my life, right? So how can I ensure that there's balance? So whilst I'm working, not overworking, creating boundaries, and be comfortable with protecting those boundaries, especially like in the workplace, right? So I make time for the other things that I've committed to, I chose to commit to, because they enrich my life, right? So, and how I would summarize that would be to slow down and think. So this is something I thought about the other day. So slow down and think, and then learn. Learning is part of it as well. And then through the process of slowing down and thinking and learning, then that action comes in, right? The action comes in, and then with action comes some sort of growth anyway. And then with the growth comes the gratification, and it's like a cycle, right? As I make progress, I'm rethinking, reassessing what are the things I need to do more of, less of, So it's a constant reevaluation process. So reassessing, reevaluating, reflecting, and then acting on those, on what comes up to either do more of or do less of.
Right. You mentioned boundaries. I
Yeah.
think that's a powerful word because a lot of times I don't set them. I
Important.
I want to
really is
be,
important.
I want to be available, right? I want to be there for the customer and or the client who has customers for me to work with, and all the stuff that I do, in my businesses. But like you just mentioned, you were double booked, right? So a boundary was crossed unintentionally.
Yeah.
Okay. In this case, it was work versus work, right?
Mhm.
And like, do you use like Schedule Once or Calendly or?
Yeah, I use Calendly. However,
Calendly?
the other one was directly through my Gmail. So I only just caught it.
Right.
So in terms of the boundaries, even digitally, I protect. Now I protect my time. So, fortunately in calendar, you can set your working hours and just auto decline. On Fridays, I don't have any meetings. So my calendar is set to auto decline any meeting. It doesn't matter how important it is. I set my time. I block out lunch. I block out, focus time on there. There's a tool on there now. So my calendar is solid, but it's intentional. So
Right.
some of it is thinking time, some of it is work desk time, some of it is, just me time, but protecting it. And, as much as I want to mentor many people, I had someone approach me 2 days ago to say they would like for me to mentor them. And I said, I'm happy to. However, we can start in 3 months. And here's why. I have X number of people I'm mentoring. I need to make time for my personal growth as well, and other things I'm committed to. So I'm happy to answer questions now and again, but I can't commit to it. I wouldn't say that previously, but it's
Wow.
okay to do that. So yeah.
Well, will you mentor me? Actually, you just did. So thank you. That's great. Because I want to say yes to everybody. Yeah, come on, let's do it. And now immediately I'm thinking, okay, how can Ego scale? Right? Group sessions, group mentoring, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
So yeah, you get to a point where, and I think everyone can, have this perspective. You get to a point where you don't just get paid for what you do, you get paid for who you are.
Yeah.
Right? You go from whatting to whoing. Those are interesting words. But yeah. Oh, look who's here. Oh my goodness. Look what the cat dragged in. But thank you, Ego. Great perspectives there. And hooray for Simba with his squeaky toy. So we are talking about creating some balance through deliberate scheduling, setting boundaries. Thank you, Ego, for that word, and being gratified, right? So yes, delayed gratification is good, but also gratification is good, right? So what are we doing to have that relief valve to do something that isn't so intense, perhaps? Any other thoughts on this? Any other thoughts? Gratification. Now, I know that my friend Glenn is quite gratified when he shows up at the Star Trek convention and meets William Shatner next month, I believe, whenever that is. So that's gratifying. Cyril, the dancer. Yes, sir. What do you think? Cyril? Hello, hello.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, I must admit I am having trouble with some of getting my boundaries at the moment because I have to get back into the normal work process, but because of the way work is for me currently, I have to go with the flow to a large extent, or I haven't found the market able to give me much move room for movement, and so it's making it rather difficult to get what I need to get done. I'm not helping myself on my days off for some reason. I often find I have to get myself inspired to write. Usually, actually, it's funny. Usually, it's having a shower that is the best time for me. I get clarity of thought and what I need to do next, or at least something I should work on. Time I get in from work, I'm usually exhausted, and it's usually late at night. So days off are the best time, but then I've got so many things to do. So yes, I'm a bit at the wind's mercy at the moment. So so I'm but I know, actually, given a bit of time, getting used to that my work will eventually start to settle, and I can pick and choose my jobs more easily and carefully, and therefore get some routine going more effectively. So so I know that will happen, and then in the meantime, I've just got to try and make it work in terms of the way it's working, so that I can get enough pages done per week to get my book done. Yes, but it's going to take a while at this rate. Yes, yeah. But
So,
but mind you, I've had some great breakthroughs though, which I didn't expect, but I've found, which has been really good, because even because I'm working, I'm always reading or listening to more books. So I've heard so many. I've got and they've got so many great points, and one of them really put me where I didn't think I would be, actually, although it's going to take a while to make that work in the way that I'd like it to, but it's a big step forward, which has been great for me. Sorry, what was you going to say?
I was going to ask you a question, Cyril.
Yeah.
What's the book about?
Well, eczema.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
because
So
I've been living with it
the topic
for.
that, yeah,
Sorry.
I was saying that's a topic that there's probably a big market for that,
Yeah,
right?
there is.
And
Yeah.
you already know stuff about that. So the idea of needing to be inspired to write about something that you're already an expert in, I'm
Well,
assuming you've got expertise, right?
the inspiration is probably I'm making it's more about actually what should I write about next. I do have a list of things I need to do, but I often find in the shower something will come up that I maybe hadn't thought of in that way when I was doing the list. So I like to get those down and on, so that it helps to expand. Because it's interesting, I've been recently listening to Russell Brunson on a couple of his books, and he was talking about getting down the information in your head so that you can make a training out of it. But what I'm finding difficult is all the little bit, as he was saying, was all the little bits and pieces you do without thinking, that
right.
I then have to search myself for, or basically something comes up to remind me or let me know, like having a problem that reminds me that what I had to do before. So yes,
Well, you
hence
know
the
what I did,
inspiration. What?
Cyril, and this may be helpful. What I did was, after studying my topic, which is personal development and philosophy, basically, and applying it into my life for about 20 years, I finally just made a decision to abandon my post, so to speak. And you know what? I'm not taking any work for the next week. And I got a cabin near the creek, and I locked myself in it, and I just spit it out. Like, here's all the ideas. It just started coming out of my mind. And it wasn't like orderly or like chapters or anything, but a week later, I had about 200 pages worth of raw material, right? And then I just started, I actually printed this stuff out. I transcribed everything I said. I printed the stuff out. Some of it was like a paragraph long. Some of it was like a couple of pages where I just went and went and went. And I just put them into piles that kind of flowed almost like maybe a chapter. Okay, great. And next thing you know, I had however many piles, like 11. And that's how many chapters there are in the book. And there's the book, and that's it. So that was an interesting approach. And it's one that I don't know that I would ever do again, but that's why Integrity is Everything is a very special book for me anyway, because I wrote it. But the other thing that I'm doing now and that I'm looking at with, and perhaps this is what you've already done, is created an outline. So we're talking about writing things down. You mentioned you're getting ideas in the shower. I don't know if you've got a pad and paper in there, or if that's even workable, but some sort of a device, and maybe an outline, right? So here's like the 10 things you got to know about, dealing with eczema, or, however it's worded. Okay. And then the subtopics from there. So certainly, about outlining, right? So
Yeah.
heading, subheading, right? And then you just fill in the blanks with whatever's relevant,
Yeah. To be honest, I started out by outlining, and although occasionally I will redo the outline a little as I try and find a better way, or as I try and feel my way to a better way to map it out for somebody who's reading it. But yeah, I think I must admit, I've kind of supposed that I would do the going away for a while and getting it done more at the end, when it's the hardest, because finishing is always, I find, the hardest. And but in the meantime, I think, yeah, but it's a great idea to do that. And I did definitely put that on the agenda. But I think, actually, to be honest, your thing about finding some way to make notes in the shower is something I really have to do, because half the time I forget what I thought about, which is not good, because I'll come up with what I think at the time is a good idea, and then I will lose it. I must admit, I got a quite an interesting one this morning, which was quite nice, because in a parallel to something Russell did with his T-shirt, and I was thinking, actually, doing a T-shirt would be a great idea, as an extra, as a downsell from a product point of view, but also from a promotional point of view for the disease, and then also from a standpoint of a kind of company that I start to surround it. So yes, I think the shower one is a definite. I've got to try in some way to sort that out. Thank you. Yeah.
My pleasure. We want you to win. Everybody
Yeah.
here wants you to win. So
Cool.
yeah.
I think I'm about, I don't know, I'm about 20% to a third of the way through. So I'm getting there slowly. I know at some point I'm gonna have to do all the bits I've been trying not to do, so to speak, but that's okay. I'll get those done eventually.
Okay.
I'm enjoying part of the process as well, which is quite nice, because my brain has been giving me this stuff in the shower for years, and I wasn't doing anything with it. So so it's nice to kind of start to put that into operation and fruition.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Ego wrote a book, and
Yeah.
and it's awesome. So why don't we hear from Ego about this? What do you think, Ego?
Cool.
Thank you, Cyril. Well done. I know you can do it. So a couple of things. You mentioned that you get these ideas in the shower. I would suggest I don't know if you take your phone close by anyway, so that when you use one of these assistants on the phone, so if it's, or maybe even a speaker, if you have something close by, you take notes. So I have a speaker, I say, okay, Google, take note, and I just say something, or I do a voice recording on the phone. So you can do that you can use that. And then the other thing is sometimes, I find that, when I'm writing, so I'm actually in the process of writing a course. And when it comes to sitting down and writing, it just, I struggle sometimes. So I use the voice typing, open up like a Word document on the phone, and I just use the dictate function. So there's either that, or you use the audio version, and then you send it out to rev.com for transcribing, right? So yeah, just the tools that you have already, would be worth using, and then before you know it, you have several chapters written. So of course, like John said, you start with the outline. But if you're, I've now reached a point where before I would set time and say, okay, I'm going to spend time and expand on this section or this chapter. But then ideas come to me in the car, or when I'm doing something else. So I just open up my phone and I just take voice notes, and then I get them transcribed later on.
That's some great stuff.
Interesting.
That's some great stuff. I'm loath to take my phone into the shower at the moment because I don't want to damage it. But yeah, because I don't really want to start
Nearby, right?
Yeah, nearby. Yeah.
nearby.
But I need to. That'd be good to use those ideas. I think the dictation is something I haven't used yet because my typing speed's not too bad, which is nice. But I think it's a useful idea, particularly for when I haven't got time to type it, and also typing in on the phone is a bit slow. So yes, great. Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
You know what, guys? I think this would be a hot selling point, right? So this book was written whilst naked in the shower. I think that, yeah, sell what you got, brother. Sell what you got. But look, so that is an objective experience for Cyril, right? He's in the shower. He's not thinking about this or that, right? And there's the ideas. It happens to me all the time in the gym, in my case. Okay, so yeah, you know what? Showering is one of those other inconveniences, like eating and sleeping. Yeah, the whole body thing. Anyway, and your whole book is about the body, right? Eczema, right? That has to do with skin. So interesting stuff, Cyril. There's definitely a market for that. Anybody else who wants to talk today? Commence talking. Glenn?
John?
You ready for some William Shatner action?
As a matter of fact.
How old is that guy now?
William Shatner has just turned 90.
Wow.
90 years old. I learned something, actually. I learned something really interesting about William Shatner. He was interviewed a few years ago, and the interviewer said, "Mr. Shatner, you're amazing. At the time, you've got 3 TV shows going. You're doing a special. You're touring with films and public speaking. You're an accomplished horseman, businessman, and everything. And you're almost 90 years old. How do you do it? How do you keep up all the energy?" And William Shatner said, "It's interesting. I learned something about myself." He says, part of it is physiology. He says, "I went to my doctor once and had some tests done, and I found out that my body produces 4 times the amount of dopamine as a normal human body." So he says, I can't take any credit for this part of it. He says, I was just blessed with extra energy. So who knew?
Wow.
William Shatner is, it's anyway, it's interesting. Just a quick note for Cyril. One thing I've learned or heard about and learned from myself: writer's right. What's that mean? It means writer's right. It means if you're a writer, you write. Jerry Seinfeld, one of the greatest comedians ever, right? Very funny guy and very successful in his career. He was asked one time, he says, "How do you do it? How have you been so successful and so funny and done all the specials and the TV show and everything and you stand-up comedy routines?" And Seinfeld said, "There's no secret." He said, "Every day I get up and I write jokes." That's it, yeah. Every day I get up and for a certain amount of time, I block out certain times of day, and every day I just write jokes. And to be honest with you, most of them suck. Most of them are not even funny, not even close to funny. But I keep writing, and I just write jokes, and I write jokes every day. And every now and then one pops out, and and I'll tell it to my wife or whatever, and ha ha ha, and hey, that's really funny. He says, but he says, I keep the string going. That was the key thing for him. He says, every day of my life, every single day of my life for the last X 20, 30, 40, whatever it was years, I write a joke. I write jokes every single day, and I'm obsessed with keeping the string going. I don't know if you keep a journal, Cyril. Many people do. Some people do. Some people don't. Seems to me that the book that you're thinking about with eczema is based on your own personal journey. Personal journey journal. See what I did there? So, writer's right. If you're going to write, I don't know. You mentioned you're 20 to 30% part through something. I don't know if it's the outline that you're 20, 30% through or the actual manuscript, whatever. Just something to think about. Writer's right. So you might want to try writing something every day. Even if you think it's terrible, just write.
Right.
Because practice makes perfect. Practice makes.
Yeah. I think I've always known that I'm going to have to start doing that, and I've known that for quite a long time. But it's taken me the reason it took me so long to start writing was because I've never viewed myself as much of a writer, or even though I love language. So having kind of come to terms with the fact that that is the next step for me, that is another. You're talking about another step that I know I have to take. At the moment, that's a bit difficult in terms of money and also just getting myself down to do it. So, but I know eventually I will do that. I am, when I say I'm 20-30% through, I actually literally 20-30% written already. Okay. So the outline I did yonks ago, and okay. I've rearranged it a number of times as well. But okay. So it's moving along just slowly.
All right. Well, listen, well done. Well done. You're through it. Been there. I've been through that process, as I know Ego has and John has, and you'll get it done. I'm not worried about that.
One of the best things I've ever done in my life was publish a book.
Yeah. So the gratification, John. I know sometimes I have been known to spend a bit too much time in the gratification half of the delayed gratification thing.
Okay.
But as you say, delayed gratification's great. Gratification's great. And quite honestly, part of the reason why I got those tickets to the Star Trek event was for the fun. I know it's going to be an absolute blast. Going to meet some really interesting people. Get to meet some of my real life childhood heroes, or the people who personified my childhood heroes, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And so it's really, I'm really looking forward to that as a watershed event. As a matter of fact, I suspect that once we get back from that event, it's entirely likely that the next book is going to get cranked out in one heck of a hurry after that.
Yeah.
Because I always get inspiration from events like that. I always get inspiration from meeting new people and hearing interesting things and other people's stories. Paula likes to say, Glenn, you should just go. When I'm thinking about going to some business event or whatever, or seminar, Glenn, you should just go. You know how you are. You go to these things, you get all the training, the inspiration, and you come back with your hair on fire, and then it's just, well, it's like this. So I'm looking forward to coming back with my Vulcan ears on fire and cranking out the next book. So this will be, a major gratification thing for me for the rest of this year. Thanks. Back to you, John.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, inspiration. Go get gratification. Go get inspired and go do some not work, right? And then come back and hit it really hard, on off. That's where my focus has been for the last few days, right? And why what Ego said about boundaries rings so true for me, because they've been violated, right? So like I've had to, right? So now I'm being a victim. You know what? My schedule, I allowed it to get smashed this week, just totally smashed, double, triple booked. No time for anything. I'm going to choke down some, Raisin Bran or whatever. But by the way, you know who my childhood, hero was and is? Can anybody take a guess? Glenn, what do you think? Knowing me, Who was my boyhood? Like, that's the guy.
Oh man, that's a good one. Uh I would my wildest guess.
If you guess this, I'd be very, very impressed.
Oh geez.
1970s
My guess would be somebody like
television.
Rocky.
Sylvester Stallone. Good
Sylvester
guess.
Stallone, Rocky
Good guess.
Balboa.
But no. But another Italian, John Travolta.
John Travolta.
John Travolta, man.
Oh,
That
hell
guy,
yeah. Heck yeah.
Vinny Barbarino, right? Saturday Night Fever. Oh man.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you know the sequel is pretty good too.
Yeah,
You know the sequel to Saturday Night Fever. Anybody know? Staying Alive.
that's right. I remember we got to get Edward out here. He's had his hand up for like a year. Hey, Edward, there was so much Bee Gees playing back then on the radio. I remember there was some radio station that it was like no Bee Gees Tuesday, like no Bee Gees today. Right. What do you think, Edward? Here
I
he
would
is.
have chosen Pacino for you.
Al Pacino. Yeah. Well,
Uh-huh.
it had to be an Italian
Uh-huh.
guy, of course.
Sin of a woman, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
What's come up for me for Cyril is what he said, and it just kind of grabbed me. And that is, he said this, he said he never thought of himself as much of a writer. That feeds right back into the book that we're on right now, Psycho-Cybernetics, about self-image psychology. So basically, I 100% recommend the first 4 chapters in that book because it'll help you to recreate, who you see yourself as being. Because, what I've had to do was had to picture in my mind the top people in whatever industry I'm in. And I've had to evaluate what I was doing compared to what they were doing. And it made me realize that self-image and self-esteem are tied to the habits that you do, which are also tied to the, which creates your self-discipline. So, if you don't see yourself where you need to be, you've got to see it in your mind's eye before you become it. That's been my experience, and that's what all these authors pretty much are telling me. So, one of the key things is you got to get it in your mouth and get it, out of your heart into your mouth so you can speak it and believe it and follow it. Because it all begins in what you expect. If you don't have the expectation, then you probably won't ever get there. But I believe in you, Cyril. I know you can do it.
Thank you,
Hi,
Edward.
hi, thank you, Edward. To be honest, that's what stopped me before I started, and I knew it was my next step. So internally, I kind of make that step quite a while ago, but it's a process. I'm moving forward slowly. I am trying not to kick myself, and just trying to move forward and then gain those facilities as I go. So yes, thank you.
Beautiful. Chapters 8 and 9 of that book, I will personally recommend as well. So the factors for the success type personality and how to acquire them. Yeah. Or ingredients or whatever he called it. And then he did the flip side of it with the failure type personality. So chapters 8 and 9 for me have been pretty profound. Yeah. What time is it? My goodness. 9:55 in the morning over here. So anybody else before we wrap up for today? We're done? We're good? Okay. So thank you guys for being here with me. Thank you for bringing balance into my life, right? If it wasn't for all of you, I wouldn't be showing up here. So thank you for being here for me. And I'm going to be back here with everyone tomorrow. Let me just look at the calendar real quick. I kind of zoned out for a minute there. You guys don't get to see me do that much. But looks like at 3:30 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, we have gentle yoga and relaxation with Nancy, which talking about balance. There you go. That could also be literal balance, like physically balancing. And then we got Brand Builder at 8 p.m. Eastern with my secret weapon, Shannon. So that's what's on the calendar for today. I will also be back here with you personally tomorrow for Fun Friday. Bring a joke. Bring those dogs again. We had all these dogs today, and it wasn't even Friday. So bring those dogs.